Guys, there's this one I really want to talk about Lokonga. I feel like he's getting so much criticism. He's just getting so much heat on him for not being able to play as a defensive mid or not being able to deputize for a party when he's not available. We need to understand this guy is 23 years old. He's still a kid, man. Just give him some time. And the thing is, at the end of the day, I feel like his best position might not even be six. His best position might end up being eight. He's strong. He's a strong player. He's got good technical qualities. He's good under pressure. So I mean, when you press him, he's not losing composure. He's able to evade pressure. He can carry the ball. He can break lines with passing. You know what I mean? He's got a good solid base of qualities that can be more useful in that kind of area of the pitch. Well, that can be more useful with a bit more freedom. The only concern with him at the moment is that he doesn't have the like a how can I say it? When you look at Guendouzi when he was here, for example, prior to this, Guendouzi had a good base of like the ability to beat pressure. He could play passes to in between lines. He could split the opposition with his passing and things like that. But he didn't have any great offensive tools, nor did he have any great defensive tools. That's the same as Lokonga right now. He doesn't really have anything like going for him offensively in terms of he's not like a goal threat. Or someone that just constantly enters the box, you know what I mean? Or someone that's great defensively. He just has a good all-round base for a centre mid. Just a good all-round base. Like if you give him the ball, he can give it go, give it go, give it go. Play good combination, play good under pressure. Doesn't lose the ball. He can beat a press with his passing. He can break lines with his passing. He can carry the ball. He can evade pressure. What we need to see from him is playing a bit more with a bit more freedom, and let's see if he continues to develop some part of his game. If he develops more as a box-to-box kind of player, he just needs to offer something more. Maybe he needs to offer more in the offensive part of the game, or maybe someone that can offer more in the defensive part of the game. The thing is this. He might not be a great single pivot defensive mid because neither is Xhaka. Xhaka didn't is playing the position he's playing now because he can't play as a six. He can't be the one responsible for receiving the ball under pressure, distributing, and also defending players running off the ball. And look how great a season he's having. So that's what we've seen from someone who was playing in a position that didn't suit him. The same could be said for Lokonga as well. Yes, maybe he's not good enough defensively as the main defensive mid player in the team, the six, who has to watch all these runs going in behind him. But if he's a supporting player to a more defensive player, there's a possibility where what he offers defensively is good enough, because the question isn't so much about his positioning in terms of like, oh no, not the position. The problem isn't so much about his willingness to drop back. The problem is more so about his positioning. So yeah, it's difficult to understand positioning if you don't have that defensive brain. Like most top elite defensive mid players have, like Fabinho, Partey, they have that elite defensive brain. He may not have that, but he understands that he needs to when to drop back. He understands that he knows he needs to get back. He just doesn't have the positioning or the way to read these kind of runs and things like that, which you need to be able to screen. But playing as a support player to that kind of player, he could possibly show something like that. He's also not a 10, so he doesn't really have great final ball action or great final actions. But as a player that has a bit more freedom to roam forward without thinking, oh shit, I need to watch what's going on behind me, or I'm the main responsible guy for the attacking sense side of the pitch. If he's just someone that's allowed to roam freely, like what Jacques is doing right now, who's allowed to roam freely with a lot more freedom and less responsibility defensively and offensively, there's a way that we might see a lot more from Lokonga. He might be able to now have the freedom, and then he could possibly show more. Because in prison, he was making really good runs into the box, receiving back to goal and playing these cutbacks. A lot of the runs that we were seeing that Jacques is making this season, not to the same extent, but he was making those kind of runs. We need to see him with just a little bit more freedom and see what's possible with him. And obviously, if we sign a defensive midfielder, when we do rest both Partey and Xhaka, we can see Lokonga in that role with another defensive player, and then we might actually see a bit more of his talent. He might come out of his shell and start to play with a lot more confidence and start to do a lot more things offensively. And then when we see him supporting defensively, then we know he's not a liability. You know what I mean? I feel like at times we can judge players based on a position, but that might not be the position for that player. You need to judge players on their actual quality and see if their quality can be useful in a different position, or it can be useful in a different area for your team. That's how you need to judge certain players. But anyways, that's just my thoughts on Lokonga, because I think like some of the stick he's been getting is just been a bit too much, especially for young players as well. We're seeing what Guendouzi is doing right now in Marseille, and now he's gone on to develop. And he had the same problem when he was here as well, where he wasn't doing too much offensively, wasn't doing too much defensively, wasn't a 6, was not a 10, but with a little bit more freedom that he was getting in Marseille, and allowing him to roam, and you know what I mean, roam from from box to box, which we knew that Guendouzi had the energy to do, and we know that Lokonga certainly has the energy to do that. For just a little bit more freedom, we might see a better player then. We might actually have a good player in the hands. Obviously, he's going to be long term. He's going to be competing with the likes of Charlie Patino, who's going to be coming back, and maybe even Vieira if he ends up playing as a centre mid as well. But just let's give him the chance to see what's possible, to also know if he's someone we can rely on long term as an A, or if we need to bring in someone. But anyways, that's my thoughts on Lokonga, because I feel like it's just been a bit too much criticism for him.